Cool. Are we okay if I start early? We are, yeah. I'm going to stream it so we have a recording of it because there's some new folks who weren't able to be here and folks out of town. So I figure. All right. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this team and volunteering your time and your money and your physical labor that we will be putting in a few weeks. The church I was at before here, Shepherd of the Hills, just went down this weekend, and they built 2 houses, and I understand they had rain. So they took our rain for us, which is wonderful. So yeah. Today, we're going to go over basic information you need to know for the trip, kind of the nuts and bolts on the trip. I'm going to share a little bit. We did get our families this week. I didn't tell Jenny that. Yeah, we did. We got our families, so I'm going to introduce our families. I'm going to let you ask questions, and then at the end of the meeting, for those that are driving, if you can hang back, I'll give you the driving instructions, and we'll talk a little bit about the drive. But I figure that we can save everyone else all those details. So, all right. Well, let's jump into it. What are we going to do on this wonderful trip? Well, over the course of 3 full days, we are going to build 2 homes from the ground up. And we're going to do this for 2 families that have been selected that live outside of Ensenada, and so we'll be going to serve those families. And I want to introduce them to you because we got their information. And I'm going to read some of their story that was shared with us. And I want to tell you these, as we've worked with families over the year, these are hard stories. When we read them, sometimes there's shocking things in them. It is a different world than we live in. But I want to share who they are and some of what they go through. So our first family is the Quintero Hernandez family. Gregorio was born in Michoacan, and his father passed away when he was 5 years old. 5 years later, Gregorio and his family crossed the border into the U.S. illegally. During those years, Gregorio got into a struggle with addiction and substance abuse. Meanwhile, Maria was born in Michoacan, and she and her 3 siblings were raised by both of their parents. And she was able to study up through middle school. So she went to school through middle school. Gregorio eventually was deported, and after he was deported, he flew to Michoacan, where he met Maria. She was working in a coffee shop at the time, and they dated, and they got married. 4 years ago, they decided to move to Ensenada to try and find a better life for themselves. So without knowing anybody, they showed up in Ensenada. They rented a few nights in a hotel until they found a place. They moved around to many places until they were able to begin paying off this land where they have a current temporary house built. So all of the families that we build for are connected with a local church. That's first and foremost how they get connected with Hugo. And then they have to own the land, but they're unable to afford building the home. So we provide the gift of a home, which is really huge for them. Their current living conditions are not the best for them as a family. Gregorio and Maria have been married for 9 years. They have 3 children together. Gregorio works in the fields during the morning, and Maria works in a factory at night so that they are able to take care of their children and alternate that at home. Gregorio, for their spiritual life, it says Gregorio knew the gospel while he was living in the U.S., and this helped him to leave drug abuse behind, and he has been clean and sober for 20 years. Maria is new to church but was raised Catholic, and they began to attend Pastor Carlos's church. He's got a good name, and invited by a church member that had invited them to church, and they became affiliated with that community, and then Pastor Carlos recommended them for the home. So this is where they're currently living. I had more pictures. I wasn't able to get them up there because I just got this at the end of the day. I literally had one of those moments where I was like, oh, I need to email Annie at Yugo and find out when our families are coming. Opened my email 3 minutes before that, she had sent our families. It's just like, wow, okay, that was good timing. So this house is just wood thrown together. There's some photos I have of the inside that I can show later that, it's on a rainy day, the water's coming in there. And they don't really have a lot inside. So on that land is where we'll be building a home for them. The next family is the Santiago Perez family. It is a mom, Josefina, and 2 sons, Alfredo and Francisco. And Josefina was born in Oaxaca. Her grandparents raised her. When she turned 18, she moved to Mexico City for work. She met the father of her first son there. It was not a stable relationship, and the man abandoned both her and her son. While living in Mexico City, Josefina met her second partner and later on got married. Before moving to Ensenada in 2005, her husband bought a house in the city. In 2016, Josefina was diagnosed with a throat tumor. Although she got it removed, her health remained okay. This period turned out to be a very hard season for their family, and her husband left her during that time. Even though they're currently divorced, she and her children are still living in the house with the husband. It is the only home that they have. They do not own any items. I will just say the relationship is not a good relationship for them, and he really wants them out of the house. So she has bought this land for herself, but her salary is not enough for her to build a home. The area of the city is home to thousands of migrant families who came from the southern states of Mexico looking for better opportunities. Let's see, what else? It is an area that does not have running water, electricity, or sewage systems, but these are the places where she is able to afford land. And so, and they pointed out that the family literally has nothing. So we will be, when we're providing stove, table, beds, bedding, all of that stuff, we're really going to be providing a wonderful gift for them. Pastor Carlos met her and her youngest son a few months ago at church. He's been able to see her grow in that community, and her oldest son doesn't attend church, but the pastor believes this family, this is a good step towards building that sense of community and will make a difference for them. So those are the 2 families that we'll be building on. That's the piece of land that Josefina owns. So in another month, there will be a house standing on that land. I want to offer a word of prayer for these families. God, we are here in Orange County, and we're in the warmth of this sanctuary. We have our coffees, we have our cars we're going to, all of these things that sometimes we forget how blessed we are. And we know as we hear just the tip of these 2 families' stories that the difference that will be made by them having a home is immeasurable. So I pray for them in this next month. I pray for them as rain is coming and they are in their current situations. I pray for their safety. And I pray that the important part of this trip that we know, it's not even about the house, it's about the relationships that we build. And so I pray that your Spirit would be at work as we meet both of these families in the coming weeks and get to build with them. In your name, amen. All right, I'm going to keep going, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. So if you have questions, write them down. So I want to talk about where we're going to stay so that you have a sense, if you've never been before, what this looks like and where we'll be. So we're going to be staying with Yugo Ministries in their campus dormitories. This is in Ensenada near the Estero Beach Resort. Last year, we actually found we're within walking distance of the beach. I've been going there for 8 years, 10 years. I'd never known the beach was behind us. So thanks to our group for discovering that. You can also buy a puppy on the beach if you would like. We found that out as well. If somebody hands you a puppy, this actually is good information to know, they want to sell you the puppy. These are the most adorable puppies you have ever seen, but you may not want to take one home. So it's best to just pet the puppy and not hold the puppy. But see, Jenny gave the one back, You could fit extra animals in your house. And if you decide at the very end, there are puppies at the border as well. So the campus is a beautiful, secure facility, can accommodate over 100 people. There's this building, that's the main campus, and right across the street, kind of where I'm standing here, is a second set of dorms. We have men and women's dorms. They have indoor restrooms. We do have some family rooms available for families by request if those are available. And meals are eaten there every day. It is locked at night, so you can see the gates there. There's also gates on the other side, and they have a 24-hour security guard that is there. Our cars are locked up in a safe parking area. The neighborhood is safe. We walked through the neighborhood to get to the beach. We'll drive through the neighborhood each and every day. But in terms of Yugo facilities, and I'm going to show a video on their safety protocols a little later, but we took both our young daughters there. This will be my 10th trip, I think, with them, and it feels very safe, and it is a good place. So let's see. These are the dorms. So each, they're all configured a little differently. There's even some triple bunks in one room. So if you really want to adventure, I did stay on the 3rd floor one time in the triple bunk. Every bed has a twin mattress, and it has a fitted sheet over it. So I bring a sleeping bag, but you can bring a full set of sheets and all of those items as well. It's whatever you're comfortable with. You'll see some of them end up head to toe, and everyone's really nice. We all arrange ourselves in nice ways there. And I'll talk more about what you need to bring for that space. This is the courtyard area. It goes into the dining hall. There's another great seating area. The chapel is in those doors down there. This is the dining hall. The food, how was the food for those that went last year? So good. It is amazing. It is home cooked, really, really good. And so you will not go hungry. I guess lunch is good. It's PB&J and lunch meat. It's on the work site, and it's good. So let's see what else. This is the coffee lounge. There is a coffee lounge there that has regular coffee and Coke and all of that sort of stuff. And our day at Yugo, so while we're there on campus, we will wake up. I can't remember what wake-up time is. Right, yeah, about 7. And the coffee shop's open. There is Wi-Fi, so if you need to have access to work or check emails or anything, you have access to that. It is free. And coffee shop opens early in the morning. Then we'll go to chapel twice a day. They have a morning worship service and an evening worship service. And there's a speaker at each one. They last about 15, 20 minutes. Now, I will say, they have a slightly more evangelical theology than we do. It's always been a pretty good fit, but it is definitely a little different than our Sunday mornings here at church, and we just never know what groups are going to be there. We had a really boisterous group of a men's ministry last year that were hand raisers and they were singers, and but it's the beauty of Yugo is it brings all these different faith communities together. So and in respect for them, we go to both the services. The speakers are always great. They are people that have either received homes or are part of the work teams there. I think I have a picture of the chapel. Yeah, that's the chapel. The music is really good. They've got a great band that plays there. so it'll be good. But we go to chapel in the morning. We either go to chapel first and then have breakfast, or we have breakfast first and go to chapel. But either way works. We'll eat breakfast, and then we're preparing for our work day. So we're getting our lunches. They pack all of the lunches into ice chests, but we'll need to carry those to our trucks. We need to load up the water. So there will be tasks every morning, and then we go to the work site. I'll talk more about the work site in a bit. We come home at night. You will be exhausted, unless you're building houses every day. So you might not be as exhausted as the rest of us, but we're going to be exhausted. You come home. There are showers, indoor showers. There is not water pressure, but there are showers. And there are warm showers. And so we come home, you'll have some free time in the afternoon. You can get coffee and treats. There is candy in the store as well. There is foosball and ping pong, and it's just a nice place to be and to relax. We'll have dinner, chapel in the evening. We'll have a quick group debrief after chapel. I'm going to see if we can actually get the chapel space. I don't know if we're the biggest group there or what this year, but we'll have a space where we can debrief. And then we do go, if you are interested, to what we call second dinner, which is at the local Tacos El Poblanos. And this is the most amazing taco shop. And we go there, and the tacos are, $1 a piece. They are homemade. It's a way we support the community. It's a wonderful time for us to just get together and connect.
You don't eat too much dinner. You go.
Yes.
You can't eat the taco. You're working all day, so
It's never a problem. Yeah. They do at the OXXO across the way, and so... Yeah, we stop there, and if you would like to have adult beverages, they have those there as well. Or not at Poblano, but they're happy for us to bring them in. Yes, in the unlikely event. And there's a woman that sells tamales there. It's a great way to embrace and take a part of the community with us. So that will happen. What else? Okay, I'm just going to go through a few things that you may be thinking. Is the water safe to drink? Well, not from the tap. No, it's not. In the bathroom, we don't brush our teeth with that water. They'll tell us all this there. The shower water, no. But they have a massive filtration system there that has safe water that comes out of these spigots on the wall. So there's plenty of safe water to drink. You will want to bring a water bottle so that you can keep hydrated at all times. So that the water is safe. We are not doing the vaccination requirement. We do recommend it, but it's not required this year. We don't know what the current COVID situation is down there, but I imagine it's like it is here. So they were requiring masks last year, but they don't have a mask requirement, but it's up to you as to how you feel comfortable with that. Will my cell phone work? If you have a major cell provider, likely your cell phone will work. Sort of. It kind of works. I'm able to get calls sometimes out on the site. It depends on where we are working, so you may or may not be able to. We just switched to Verizon, and the plan I have has free calls in Mexico. So you can check with your provider to be sure. But texting, on Wi-Fi, that all seems to work pretty well. Do I need a passport? Yes, absolutely, 100% you need a passport if you want to come home. You don't need a passport to go. They will let you in, but if you want to come back over, you will need a valid U.S. passport. So if you don't have that, it may be too late, but talk to me afterwards. So, and once we get there, it's up to you. You can keep your passport with you, or if you want, you can give it to me, and they put them in a bag and they lock them in a safe for the weekend so that you don't have to worry about your passport. But you're all grown-ups, or you have grown-ups that are responsible for you, so it'll be up to you if you want to do that. How do we get there? We are going to carpool down. The trip takes about 4 hours. If you're driving, and drivers will talk afterwards, you'll need to purchase additional insurance that covers you in Mexico. You can easily do that through AAA, and I put the link down there. It costs about $150. We have funds to reimburse you for that if you would like to be reimbursed. We also, if you would like to donate that to the church, you can donate that to the church as well. So, but we do have funds to reimburse for that as well as for gas. We'll meet here, I don't know if we've set our meet time, but I think about 10 o'clock? 9:30. We'll meet here at 9:30. We'll load up the trucks, the cars. We'll get everyone in carpools. And then we'll caravan down to just before the border where we'll have lunch at a 10:30. Okay. We'll have lunch at a Carl's Jr. or a Subway or a Taco Bell or a, yeah. And there's a Vons there. I think there's a Walmart there if you forgot anything. We'll gas up. And then we will immediately go cross the border at the San Ysidro border crossing. You'll see some video of that a little bit later on, so I won't talk too much about that. We then, once we go through San Ysidro, if we don't, trucks usually will get pulled over and get x-rayed, so there's a space where the carpools can wait. We all stayed together last time. I've never had problem of losing cars. Once we leave there, we bypass Tijuana, go around the outside, and we drive down the coast, and you'll have some of the most beautiful views of the ocean on the drive down. It takes about 4 hours. We'll go through some toll booths, but that's pretty straightforward. And then we will use our vehicles to get to and from the work site each day. I can't tell you how long it will be because we don't know where the work sites are. Somewhere between a 15, 20, sometimes a 30-minute drive where we go to, and then we'll spend our day at the spot on the work site, and I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So let me talk about what to bring. So if you have your packing list, actually I think I have it here, included here. So what's the most important thing to bring? Passport. All right. We will beat that into the ground. So in the dorm, for you to have a wonderful dorm experience, sleeping bag or bedding for the twin mattresses, pillow, blanket, chargers for your devices, and then I recommend an extension cord and a power strip because the outlets are not always conveniently located by your bed. So it's always good to have that. If snoring bothers you, earplugs are not a bad item to have. But if you sleep through anything like I do, then you don't need to worry about that. So That's for the women, right? Yes. Oh, yeah, there's never snoring in the men's room. Oh, that men's group last year, do you remember the room? Okay, these were like really big guys. And when we walked, they were in a tiny room. The smell that came out of that room was, whew. Toiletries, personal medical items, inhalers, prescriptions, and a towel. So you all know what to bring, but that's the basic stuff. As far as clothing, we're not dressing up for anything. You don't have to dress up to go to tacos. Work clothes, assume that your work clothes are going to get stained, dirty, painted. We just keep our work clothes and recycle them every year, so they're just in our bin, our Yugo bin, and we pull them out the next year, and that is how you prove that you worked. But they will get stuff all over it, and work shoes. You definitely want to have closed-toed shoes, definitely at least tennis shoes. I have a pair of work boots that I wear. I like that because you never know if a 2x4 is going to land here or there sometimes. Or on you.
We also know where the medical center is.
Yes, yeah, we do. I will say I'm very excited to say each site is going to have a medical professional on it. A friend of ours is coming who's an emergency room doctor. And then Julie is a nurse, but you at least know how to, in the OR, you know how to put it back together. So we will have 2 medical professionals there, which will be wonderful. But safe shoes, definite must, because And also shoes that can get muddy, because if it rains, I mean, a lot of times these are just dirt.
It's not raining. There's just
Yeah, it's just muddy.
water drought.
Yeah, it's a camping trip. So, and then for at the site, or once we get back to the dorms, warm clothing sometimes can be cold. So just enough that you've got something in the evenings to be comfortable. And then, clothing to wear on campus every day. They also sell T-shirts there. There are vendors that sell items. So extra things to bring. These are not your work site things. I'll get to the work site stuff in a minute. It is good to have some cash. They happily take dollars, so you don't need to. You may get change in pesos. And it is handy to download a currency converter because you can add up and make sure you're paying the right amount. But they will take dollars. I would say, $100 in cash in smaller bills is good. I think puppies were about $100. They might take your Venmo. They might take your credit card. Who knows? Yeah, they may. There are vendors that Yugo approves and works with. There's a guy that makes bracelets with your name for, I think, $3 a bracelet. And then there's another guy that sells ponchos and all sorts of stuff. So you can buy them, and then the taco place. The stores will take your credit card, no problem. And if you forgot something, there's drugstores, there's a Walmart, there's a Home Depot. We're not far from civilization. So if you absolutely need something, we can get it. And credit cards and ATM cards work as well. So that is all good. I think that's it. Okay, this is the what not to bring. Do not bring firearms or bullets of any kind. I will tell you, I've never had any problem of violence or any issue on a trip except once, and that was when the sweetest, nicest young man who works on our team had left some .45 caliber bullets from a shooting trip that he had gone on deep within the recesses of his truck, and it got x-rayed. And that evidently is a serious felony crime in Mexico. And so he did get detained. Yugo helped us. They provided their attorney. We got it all resolved. He is fine today. But it's an experience you don't want to go through. So just in case you were out shooting that weekend before, clear the car out because they take that one seriously. Other than that, we're good. So let me talk about the work sites and then safety, and then I'll shut up. So, okay, as I said, the work sites are all different. They will likely not have running water, but we bring our own water with us. Having Purell is really great to have. We'll probably bring some with us as well. Wipes are a great thing to have. If you're a driver, like I have my Yugo mats, which are rubber mats that I put in my truck because the inside of your car will get muddy and dirty. So you can get those at O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're pretty cheap, and they make cleanup a little bit easier. There will be a bathroom somewhere. Last year, we were at a site that had a bathroom that actually had running water. Sometimes it is an outhouse, sometimes it is a porta potty, sometimes it is you go down this way, you turn left, you go this way, and there's a store, and but we'll have access to some kind of restroom there. It just may be an adventure as well. So our work plan, and nothing ever goes to plan. If you've been on a work team before, the key ingredient is flexibility. This will not go as we think it's going to go, but there will be a house at the end of it. And I think in your packet, you have a picture of the house that we'll be building. Oh, yeah, that's the route we take down. Those are some of the driving spots. That's in the video a little later. Yeah, there's the house. This will happen at the end of 3 days. Now, team, did you believe me last year? Well, yeah, but after day, yeah, yeah. At one point, I know we were in, we worked all day on Sunday because I had talked about sometimes we get done a little early. But we will get it done. It will get finished, and this family will get a house at the end. The first day, we will be painting and staining all of the wood before it goes up. We will be framing the house. There will be a team that is cutting wood and making all the cuts to get everything to go on. These houses are designed to be put together very simply. And so, as you can see, there are 2 4x8s on the side, and there are, I think, 5 4x8s on the, there's 4 4x8s on the side for 16 feet, and then 5 on the front for 20 feet. So it's a 16 by 20 foot house. We'll stain and cut and frame and hopefully get the roof part on. If we can get the sheet panels up on that day, it's great. The next day, we drywall. We put the roof shingles on. If you like being up on the roof, we've had all ages on the roof. Who are my roofers from last year? I got Linda and Ann and Chris. These 3 did the entire roof. If you didn't go last year, I have to say there's a few laughters. We had a little incident with Kristen in that a 2x4, which we're always careful on the work site. We got to put things where they're not going to fall. 2x4 fell on her hand. We thought it was broken. It ended up not being broken, but they lost both of us for the day. And we were the 2 with experience on how to move this through. This year, we're in a much different spot. We have a bunch of people that have experience, and so that helps move it through. So we will roof, paint, do electrical on day 2, and then hopefully day 3 is building the beds and putting the trim and everything in. So we will have a construction supervisor on the site that every week they build one of these houses or 2 of these houses. They have a very specific way that they do it, and we do it their way. We may have better ways of doing things, but we do it their way because their way works. And their way is good. It's a good, solid house. Now, there's little tweaks we can make along the side, like the framing around the windows. We can make that a little fancier if you want, and those sorts of things. But internally and externally, we build the house that they tell us to build, regardless of our expertise on that. So, it'll be a great house for them. Now, do you need to bring any tools? No, you don't. Do you want to bring tools? Yeah, you probably do. Hugo provides all the tools, but it is good to have some extra things. And so I'm going to have Linda come up to demonstrate what you would likely want to have there. This is perfect. So the first thing you want is a basic tool belt. It can be this kind. It can also be the little pouch from Home Depot if you want. You want something you can hold nails in. That's pretty much it, and that will hold your hammer.
I stole these.
Yeah. You want work gloves. It just keeps your hands nice and gives you one extra layer of protection from splinters and all that. Pencils, construction pencils. A utility knife, if you like.
I left mine down there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we left.
I gifted a few of my things.
Just those little flip utility knives and some extra blades. You'll go through those, especially if you're cutting shingles and all of that sort of stuff. A hammer is always good if you have a particular hammer you like. They have a ton of hammers. This has the little magnet for putting the nail in, which is kind of nice to start those framing nails. But if you have a hammer you like, that's good, a good size framing hammer. Tape measure is good to have. I like to bring a square. It's nice to have that if you're doing any of those items. But they have hammers, they have nails, they have everything you need. They do not have one thing that we do need you to bring: sawhorses. If you have sawhorses that you can bring, it's huge, because we use them to make our tables, to make workspaces. We tried to buy them, and you cannot buy them in Ensenada. Remember, Dave and I went to Lowe's. We went to nobody had sawhorses. It was crazy. So bringing sawhorses, especially for the paint crews, makes a huge, huge difference. So everyone that can bring a set of sawhorses, that'll be great. On the work site, you also want a water bottle, sunscreen, a hat, definitely, and hand sanitizer is always good to have as well. And I think we build rain or shine. So, and we have built in the rain. I have painted in the rain, because you just have to build. If it's going to rain that weekend, I'm gonna probably throw in some easy ups, and it might be good to have some easy ups anyway. It's nice for shade. Yeah, they have a few, but if it were raining, it might be good for us to bring some. A tarp is not a bad thing to have. Trash bags are a good thing to have. We'll bring extra paint supplies that we have from last year, but extra rollers because we don't really clean the rollers or the brushes. There are three, I think it's three, yeah. So you don't have to have any skill set whatsoever. But this kind of helps me get an idea of where to place you on the team. So if you have any skills or experience in the following areas: painting, staining, cutting, framing, electrical, roofing, drywall, or trim, or anything else, that's helpful for us to know. And then if you would like to particularly do something, I ask that you pick your top 3 choices. If you'd like to paint and stain, if you want to cut, if you want to frame, etc. What is your preference? So rank them 1 through 3, if you would. And then the last one, if there's something you do not want to do, if you don't want to be on the roof. I think Linda and Ann both put last year they didn't want to be on the roof, right? And there they were on the roof. And everybody can do everything, but if there's something you really don't want to do, put that down as well and let me know that.
And I'll collect those whenever you're done.
I'm going to have Alton play a quick 3-minute video that Hugo has put out about safety down there, just to give you some background information. It also has some just good images of where we'll be and what we're doing. I'll have him do that, and then I'll take questions afterwards, because I'm sure I have forgotten stuff. So let's see.
Hello, and welcome to the Baja Peninsula of Mexico, and welcome to Hugo Ministries. Hugo Ministries is a community of believers from all over the world who are passionate about inviting the church to join us, as together we build sustainable change in Mexico. Here at Hugo, we often hear the question, is a Hugo missions trip safe? Our answer, absolutely yes. Hugo's missions group travels safe, well-traveled roads to get to well-planned, well-secured missions facilities in Rosarito, Ensenada, San Vicente, and La Paz. Each year, Hugo hosts more than 3,000 guests on a short-term missions experience with absolutely no issues. In fact, since 1965, Hugo has hosted more than 150,000 students and families on a missions trip and has never had one single incident of violence against a participant or a staff. It all starts with crossing the border from San Diego, California into Mexico. Your team will cross at a well-lit, well-guarded border crossing, which is uniquely set up to receive visiting groups. After a short search, your group will be on the highway and headed for your mission. All groups use safe toll roads called Highway 1, which goes right along the beautiful Pacific coast. A 2-hour drive brings you to the heart of downtown Ensenada and then to the rural community south of the city and to Hugo's Ensenada campus. God has blessed Hugo with a safe, clean campus where we are prepared to host your ministry team with excellence. Our campus safety features include secure parking, 24-hour security, and a fully gated campus with lots of lighting and security cameras all around. Our campus is equipped with wonderful dorm-style accommodations, hot showers, a dining hall, a chapel, even a coffee cafe. Your ministry team will be reaching out to the rural communities of Mexico. Most of these areas are impoverished, and many of these families work extremely hard just to get food for the day or for the week. Yugo missions groups have been very safe in these areas and have never experienced more than just some petty theft. We want you to feel safe, that you are sending your loved one into a stable missions environment. We live here. We attend church here. Our children go to the local schools. And we would never invite you into a situation where your safety was directly threatened. We are in a battle here, but our battle is not against flesh and blood. It's not against armies and tanks. It's not even against drug lords. Our battle is against our enemy, the devil, trying to use broad generalities and overhyped news stories to keep you and your loved ones from being involved in God's ministry. We hope that the information that we've given you in this video makes you feel safe, secured, and excited about joining us on a Yugo missions experience. We hope to see you soon in Mexico.
For sure they've had that. That was, I thought they said it a lot better than I do. So, one thing I like that they said, and then I'm gonna stop, is they build sustainable change, and that is true. I mean, that the house makes such a difference for the families, and then you see as we go back over the years, they add on to these houses. We're not just going in and doing one thing and we leave, but this really gives them a start for a future. So, questions that you have? Yes? I don't know if they're near each other yet. Yeah, that it is nice when they're near each other, but one is in Villas 3 and the other is in a place called Scorpion, but that could be across the road, yeah, so. Yeah.
In the picture, I saw a chop saw on site. Do they have nail guns and things they use?
They don't have, they have a chop saw. They have some screw guns when we need them. Most of it is all hammer and nails. They did bring us a nail gun last year when we got really behind on framing.
Well, I can bring
But, so they have a compressor. Chop saw, they got plenty of those. So, yeah, nail gun and compressor, that can help, yeah, so if you've got that. But yeah, everything else they've got, so. There usually is electricity. In fact, we bring a generator, actually, yes, we bring a generator. But sometimes there's electricity. It just depends. But usually it's a generator. And it is the wire that comes out of the, I know, I was going to say, like when we test the electricity in the house, we just kind of put it into the, yeah. There are no building codes. So, yeah. Actually, I've brought a cordless drill, but we really don't use it. It's really all hammers. Yeah. So, I mean, you're welcome to bring it, but I stopped bringing mine because, no, it's nails for the drywall. So, yeah, they won't have the screws. Like I said, they have a very particular way of doing it because it's what the wide group of people can do. But it does all work. So, yeah. So. We use some screws, especially on the ceiling. Yeah. So if you have them and you want to bring it, it's fine. We don't necessarily need it, but it's always good to have. Safety goggles, I didn't see. Safety goggles, thank you. Yes. Yeah, that's good to bring a couple of sets of safety goggles. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Jenny cut last year. Yeah, it's, you can get like a 3-pack of goggles or something there. You had a bunch of goggles last year you brought, yeah. Bring extra. If you think you might need 2, bring 4, The other thing is, we may have kids from the community that want to come and help out. And like last year, I gave my tool belt to one of the kids that was working there because this kid worked really hard. And so, yeah, so you may end up leaving some stuff there. Every year it's different. And I'll say also the families, most of the time will prepare one meal for us as a gift, a thank you. We do not know what that will be. It will be safe. Last year it was a very humble meal of beans and homemade tortillas, but they're very much giving out of what they have, and it's so we eat, we partake of it. Yeah. So. Mm-hmm. There were several dogs that were there last year. Yeah, I did almost take one home. Yeah. Anything else?
How many cars are going down?
Let me give you your team lists and all of that. So I'll have Paul can hand this out. So this will tell you, this is currently, remember flexibility, but these are the house work teams. If your name has a sort of a faint green color around it, it means you went last year, so that's an experienced person. And if it's blue, you have medical experience. And then down on the bottom is our current carpools. Those may shift and change, but we kept families together. And we're going to need to put Kayla somewhere. We decided it would be a long, squishy drive. So, yeah, so we'll figure out a car if, when she finally decides. So, huh? Oh, Greg said, so we're going to be racing, right? Translation, competing. No, there's no competition. So when you come back at the end of the day and you go, well, we got the roof panels on, the other team, well, we got our drywall up. No, we never do that, except, yeah, it is funny how competitive people get. With the other church, yeah. We're like, oh, we're ahead of them. Yeah, they're on the roof. Day 1, you will have bounds of energy, and we want to utilize all that, especially with the framing, because your arms, we get sore that day. And then day 2, but it gets done. It gets done, so. Let me then say if there's no other questions, I'll just have the drivers join me real quick, and I'll give you the directions and highlight a couple of things. And other than that, we're free to go. I haven't double-checked on the driving. I do need to look at that. I think, is there another? Yeah, you have Greg. I just didn't mark him as a car. Okay. So the houses, we have to make sure we have enough cars for both, and so there's at least 3 on each, and we have 7. So, and Jenny will be the extra car. You don't have me listed on your. Oh, you're driving? Okay. Oh. Yep. You can. Yes. I don't have a pen. Yeah. How long has the church had these pencils? I have, in 25 years of ministry, I've never seen these, and these are the coolest little things. They were great construction pencils, if you get my drift. Oh, I bet they do. Paul, how many could you take?
I'm taking Greg.
So you got Greg. Okay. Yeah. I will say if you make that mistake, it is the legal system down there, which is finances, and it ended up costing about $22,000 to get him, for a small pack of, that was not pesos. It was, and I will tell you, Hugo, just to speak of this organization, when I got there and I said, this is what's happened, they were like, okay, we've got a lawyer, we're sending their lawyer down there. They negotiated it. They fronted cash for us until we could pay it back. So he did, yeah. Now it was not, I don't want to say bad jail. I mean, it was a border crossing area. He stayed one night in, and then he was in like the squad room another night. But it was for a little bit it was scary, and then we got him out, and it was okay. But yeah.
And I didn't hear the first part, but have you ever had to pay off any corrupt?
No. Okay, his question was if we ever had to pay off, any officers. I've only known of one other encounter that happened. It was the first year I went. It was a guy who left in the middle of the night to go get a toothbrush, and he was speeding, and he got pulled over, and he paid himself out of the fine. But that was sort of his own doing.
Good reason to have cash, right?
Yeah. But really, there'll be very little reason other than driving to and from the work site and to and from the taco place, which is in the neighborhood we're in. You won't be on the major streets for any.
So there's toll booths going down?
Yeah, and we'll provide the tolls for you. It's cash, and it's about $2 or $3 a booth. It's
It's like $6.
Yeah.
Going down, $6.
coming up. Yeah.
Fast track.
No, they give you change, sometimes in dollars, sometimes in pesos, so, yeah. So for my drivers, so if you're not driving, you're done. You can head out. If you're with a driver, though, you'll probably stay. So these are, let's see. Okay, these are turn-by-turn directions with photos. And this is what we used last year. There's an extra. And we confirmed these are accurate.
You guys, anything you want to give to me, I'll take it. Thank you. Your team request. Yes, you are.
So the only couple of tricky things, the first is before we cross the border. It's this location that we stop at for lunch, which is the last stop right before the border. And it's just there's two exits that are named Palm Avenue, and we take the second one.
But see, now you say that, but the second Palm Avenue is miles later.
Yeah.
It's not like it's Palm Avenue, 2 miles.
Yeah.
And then it's miles, so.
So that's the only trick with that. Then immediately from there, we pretty much go straight to the border crossing. When we go through, we'll all try and keep our caravan, not our entire group. We're going to pair you up in groups of 3 cars each. So there'll be a front, a middle, and a back. We try to stay together going through. They will stop you. If you have a passenger car, they're probably going to pass you through. My truck and Paul's truck, we may get pulled over and x-rayed. You have a truck? Okay, so depends on how packed they are in the back. My last church did a vacation Bible school, so we were just mounded up with tarps that screamed, maybe there's something not right in there. Last year, we didn't have very much, and so we didn't get pulled over. So we may not get x-rayed, but if we do, when you come out of the station, there's a place where the other cars can pull over and wait for you. It's very easy to get reconnected up. They will make you get out of your car if you're getting x-rayed. Take your personal belongings with you, and then you just do what they say, and it all goes smooth. My oldest daughter, the first year we went, we got pulled over. There are officers with guns, and they have their people that are pretty heavily armed there. But she was nervous, but it's all safe, and so then we'll get on the road. We'll start driving, and it's good to have a navigator because your Wi-Fi may or may not be on. This gives you pretty much everything you need. I don't think, were there any mistakes in here last year? So if you've got a good navigator, they'll get you there. If you get separated, you'll find your way. It isn't hard. The only thing is coming back, we're going to not go back through San Ysidro this year, because last year we spent 5 hours sitting at the border. We're going to try the Otay Mesa crossing, which is a little further. The Shepherd of the Hills is doing that this week, and I'm going to get their information from them. But the group last year that did, I think they spent an hour crossing, and we spent 5 hours.
But it was fun.
It was fun. There are vendors that come by. We had elote, we had sodas, we ate crickets. We bought some wonderful artwork, hands. Yeah, so it's, at the border, it is, where you're there, it is safe to be able to buy if you want to buy from folks. But you can also keep your windows up, and that's all good too. Yeah, a lot of good people watching. So, but that's about it. Any questions, drivers?
Oh, did you talk about the insurances, the link in?
Yes, the link is in the What You Need to Know packet. The frequently asked questions packet.
Do you know which have you assigned the houses to the families?
I have not yet. I think I'm going to put the house with the youth to the house that has youth at it. So,
Well, one
yeah.
is 3, the other one is 2.
Yeah, so, the link for insurance is in there, and you just go to AAA if you want, or if you have another source, you can get another source. If you are the type that really likes to know what we're going to do, these are detailed house packets that have the cut list, the framing, the plans for everything. So if you're the kind that really likes to see that ahead of time, I have a few of those you can grab up here as well. And they have it all, yeah. Each team will have one construction lead, or one house lead that basically the construction lead works with, and we'll go to a meeting. But they have it all taken care of. So, any Spanish speakers in here? A little bit, okay. Even a little bit is good. So, yeah. So, just that stuff.
We will be leaving later because she has to work on Thursday, so we'll leave at 3:30.
Oh, okay. So maybe you guys can coordinate to come. Yeah, that'd be good. And let me just say, if it comforts you, I've made that drive from Ensenada to Tijuana late at night when we had to go back to help my friend out. The roads are well lit, and it's beautiful. So you shouldn't have any trouble. But if you guys compare together, that'll be great. Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you all. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. Yeah.